So, any other questions?
Yes.
Mr. Hassan.
Now, when you start talking about the past, you showed us Doha in general, and then you went very, very specific to where the buildings were built.
Yeah.
And when you went to the present, you showed us certain places in Doha. You didn't show us the whole thing, the whole Doha, what happened in whole Doha.
Yeah, of course. Because
And you did not go even into specific detail as you did in the future. So the comparison wasn't that clear for me.
Of course. So, what I've said about the present is that all of the buildings were pretty similar. They have, they are, what is common in there is that the buildings got taller and they all got pretty plain. The buildings do not have any decoration. For example, I've mentioned the arabesque.
So in the present, the buildings that do not have any decorations?
It's not only about the decoration, it's just the overlook of the building. It's not that unique. You can go to any country in the world and find the same buildings. You can find it's just let us say it's the stereotype of buildings.
I'm sorry, I'm totally against this.
Why is that?
Because this is not in the. I mean, you cannot find these things in everywhere, especially in the Arab world. I mean, still the present is still unique in Qatar. I'm sorry, but this is actually. I mean, this is what I feel from the plenty of visitors that come into Qatar.
Sure.
Still,
it's kind of
especially if you have an overview of Doha, as you did in the past. If you have an overview of Doha, yes, totally changed, but still, it is unique, it is attractive, and the way they are building the country.
I do agree that it is kind of unique in our region, but it's only in the region. But then again, in the country, did you see anything that represents the culture of Qatar? The buildings that represent the culture, there are too few. There are too few buildings that represent the culture. This is what I'm speaking about. So, do you agree?
No.
No? So you don't agree that they do not represent the culture?
Debating, but still, it's.
Yeah, of course. It's a point of view. As I said in the beginning, I'm just saying things from my perspective.
I mean, I thought that this will be a pure scientific way to present what the difference and you know the culture you started in the past, showing us how they were building using the whatever you call them, and then when we go to the present, you didn't went that detail. You didn't go that detail inside the build. So still,
I'll try to work on the present as much as then show it to you in the first person.
If you are talking that we still have a unique buildings for Qatar, may you kindly tell us about these unique buildings for the present that give Qatar its own aspect? You will not find.
I mean, in any country in the world, this is what's happening. I mean, if you go to England,
because I'm always talking about Qatar, so I'm talking about Qatar.
I mean, all countries are developing. So, as long as you have development, then you won't have the. I mean, now the culture of Qatar is those buildings.
But
I mean, those zigzag buildings, and this is a new culture. I mean, culture is a total. It keeps on changing.
Yes, of course.
But our
different culture, Mr. Hassan.
This is
exactly that coming from different countries. It's not an own. It's not the authentic culture for the Arabian area. I'm always talking about the Arabian.
But still, what's the culture of the Arabian countries? I mean,
this countries. Okay. This brings us to a very interesting point. Does development?
Do I have to keep on living on a tent so that we show that we are?
No, but then again, does being developed means that we should erase our past? This is the real question.
Ammar, it's the need.
No,
At
it's
the
not.
end of the day, I need those buildings. I need those huge, big buildings because Qatar is a very small country.
It's not the need.
So we have to.
But then again, we can keep those huge buildings, but in the same time, we can put. We can make them just represent our culture, and this is what I'll show in the future slide. Right. So let's see if this brings us to a point where we can all reach a solution together or not. Any other questions? Alright, great. So, the future. Right now, what I'll show you is some pictures from what Qatar is anticipated to have in the next few years, and let's say before 2030. Next one. This these pictures are from Misher Properties company. What Misher Properties does is that they're working on the whole downtown area. The downtown area in Doha, which is Souq Waqif and the area around it. As you can see, these buildings, they are tall, again. But the thing is, they do have some touches that represent the country. For example, these buildings, they all have the melter system that I mentioned in the beginning, the cooling and air and everything. But in the same time, we can keep the lamps. In the night, we will use the lamps. This is the thing. As you can see, the decoration of the building is made of the same, on the same aspect, which is the arabesque, repeating a certain pattern, which will make the building look beautiful. As you can see, here are squares, here are rectangles, and in other buildings, which I couldn't just take a photo, I just needed to keep it simple. But they all have this. And in the same time, we'll have the modern stuff such as underground parkings, and they are going to put a tram there, a tram system, which is like a small train that goes everywhere, just to keep it. But then again, we are having a thing that says this is our culture. We are trying to put the past with the future, with the present together to have a good future, which represents our culture from the perspective of the company. Next picture. This is a stadium from the 2022 for the 2022 league that they're going to have here. As you can see, this is the shell of pearl. It represents the culture from the perspective of the again the diving for pearls job they have, and also it's unique in its way. So next slide. Any questions?
Go back to the next slide.
Previous.
Khalid, so as a Qatari, do you feel when you see this that this is part of your culture?
Do I feel?
Yes, when you see this picture.
I think that Qatar is developing and it is very good for Qatar.
As a Qatari, do you feel that if you see this picture, does it represent any of your cultures?
In the future it will, but right now, no.
This is the point that I'd like to...
Yeah. But if we can go back one more slide. This is a whole town, not one city. Do you feel that it represents you?
That's yes.
Even this picture, I don't feel that this actually represents any of the Arabic or even the Qatari culture.
Because this is made of wood, this is not the actual building. This is just a prototype where they are trying to implant the cultural symbols of the country in the buildings. This is still a prototype, and this is only a maquette, so they can adjust. But they are trying to put the past together, which has been totally erased, except in the Souq Waqif area and the share area, which is right now destroyed. It's totally destroyed.